Welcome dear students to St. Wilfred's online classes. I am Dr. Seema Jacob and today I will be covering up a topic from BSc second year, and the topic is Parasitic Adaptation in Helminthes. Now before I start with the topic, I would just like to explain you few things. First of all, when we talk of living things, we see that there is the Fred's online classes. I am Dr. Seema Jacob of Zoology Department, and today I will be taking up a topic from BSc second year, and the topic is Parasitic Adaptation in Helminthes. Now before I take up with the topic, I would just like to explain to you all that all the living things, a very important aspect of their life is the nutrition. Now we all know that there are two types of mode by which a living organism utilizes its nutrition. Now the first type is called the autotrophic and the second type is called the heterotrophic. Now what do I mean by autotrophic? Autotrophic means auto means self and trophic means nutrition. Now this includes those type of living things which make their own food, that is by utilizing water, carbon dioxide and sunlight, they prepare their own food. Now what is meant by heterotrophic? Heterotrophic again comprises of two words. Hetero means other and trophic means nutrition. Now this group includes all those organisms, all those living things which depend on the other organism, other living things to procure food. Now these include herbivores. Herbivores are plant eaters, for example deer. Carnivores include the meat eaters, that is all the animal which falls under carnivores feed on the herbivores or other carnivorous animal. The example of this is lion. The third category of heterotrophic type of animal is the omnivorous, and the omnivores include humans, that is they eat both plant or meat material. There is another class of animal or organisms that are called the parasites. Parasites include those organisms, those living things which depend on other organism, that is host, solely to complete their life cycle, to complete their life processes. They cannot live without their host. When we talk of parasites, we can categorize them into partial parasites, permanent parasites, obligate parasites and facultative parasites. Now what do we mean by partial parasites? Partial parasites means anshik parjivita, that is the animals, the organism that belong into this, that falls into this group, they are parasite only at any stage in their life cycle. That is, they are not parasite throughout their life, only at certain stage they behave as a parasite. The best example of this type is the Glochidium larva of Unio. Now the larva of Unio, it adheres to the gills of the fish only for a certain period of time, and after the time is attained, it frees itself and it becomes a free living organism. The second type of parasites are called the permanent parasites. Now these type of parasites, they cannot exist without their host. They are permanent parasites. They live and die with the existence of their host. Now we can also categorize the parasites as obligate parasites and facultative parasites. Obligate parasites are also compulsorily parasites throughout their life, and the examples are liver fluke, taenia. Taenia is commonly known as the tapeworm. The facultative parasites, they are optional parasites. That is, they can be a parasite, they can be a free living organism. Depends upon the environment which they are inhabiting. Now, the example of facultative parasites include a nematode species called Strongyloides stercularis. It is an endoparasite when the situation or the environment is as such, and it can be a free living when it is unable to find a host. It can exist itself, survive without the host. The parasites are also termed as the ectoparasites or the endoparasites. Ectoparasites are those parasites which inhabit the host from outside. Ecto means outside. And endoparasites are those parasites that inhabit the host. They inhabit the liver or the internal organ of the host. Now, as our topic is about the parasitic adaptation in helminths, I would like to explain to you what are helminths. Helminths, they are the parasitic worms, and in the animal life or in the organisms, there are two phylum which have the helminths in them, that is the Platyhelminthes and the Escarious. Platyhelminthes, as the name suggests, include all those animals that are dorso-ventrally flattened. Platy means flat and helminths means the worm. So these animals are characteristically leaf-like. They are dorso-ventrally flattened. It includes liver fluke, tapeworm, and so many other helminths, but emphasis I am giving on liver fluke and tapeworm. The second phylum that includes the helminths is called the Helminthes, and this phylum includes wide variety of parasitic worms. The most common ones are Escarious, Vaucheraria bancrofti, Dracunculus, etc. Now, these worms, they causes a variety of disease in animals as well as in humans. Now, I will be taking up only few diseases because the emphasis of our topic is on the adaptation in helminths and not on the diseases. So, just to mention that these worms, they cause a wide array of disease. I have just listed a few diseases caused by these helminths. Now, diastomiasis, schistosomiasis, this type of disease caused by the liver fluke. They cause damage in the liver of animals as well as humans also. Taniasis, this disease is caused by Tania solium. It is commonly known as the tapeworm and it generally infects small children. The disease occurs when measly cooked pork meat or half cooked meat is consumed by the individual. When hygiene, sanitation, all these general healthy habits are not adhered to, so the eggs of these worms, they enter into the organism, into human and animals maybe. The second type of disease is the Escariasis. It is caused by Escarious, it is the roundworm. Elephantiasis or the elephant feet, it is also caused by one of the Helminthes organism, that is Vaucheraria bancrofti, in which the lymphatic glands and the lymphatic passage, they are blocked by these parasites, the helminths, and which causes the inflammation of extremities like leg, arm, etc. Now coming to our topic, as I am discussing the parasitic adaptation in helminths, now I would like to explain to you what is meant by adaptation. We all are now familiar what parasites are. Parasites are those organisms which require the host to complete their life cycle or to complete their life processes, be it nutrition, respiration, reproduction, excretion. For all their basic life processes, they require a host. Now, I have discussed with you all what helminths are. Helminths are the parasitic worms, and these worms are included in two phylum, Platyhelminthes and Escarious. Phylum Platyhelminthes is categorized into three classes: Turbularia, Trematoda and Cystoda. As I have already mentioned about liver fluke and tapeworm, these belong to these two classes. This class, Turbularia, it includes a free-living organism, and this free-living organism is called planaria. It is not a parasite, it is a free-living organism. These two organisms, liver fluke and tapeworm, they are endoparasites. That is, they reside inside the host, and they are totally, completely dependent on their host for their survival and propagation of their type. Now, what is adaptation? Adaptation means the adjustment made by an organism so as to suit itself in its environment. It is that process that changes an animal, an organism makes so that it is able to live inside its host. Now, when we are talking about adaptation in helminths, we know that liver fluke and tapeworm, they live inside the host. So, in order to sustain themselves, in order to keep remaining their self inside the host, they are required to make certain adjustment in them. Now, what are these adjustments we will be discussing